the sort of questions part of that, and bits that are working and bits that are not working. So really going forwards now, you've got to think, out of all the exercises and things that we've done over the last 3 weeks, and hopefully you've been doing at home, some things are going to work for you really well. You think, yeah, I'm definitely doing that. And then there's other bits you think, God, I hate that. I'm just not, and you know in yourself that you're just not going to do it. So for instance, those side positions, I know I need them. And I do them, but I don't do them as much because you've got to be real with yourself. It's like thinking that you're going to sort of get into running or suddenly do whatever it is that we suddenly think we're going to do, whatever hobby it is. You've got to think, what are you really going to accomplish? What have you really liked? And if you've hated weights but you've liked the bands, well, don't worry about the weights, go into the bands a bit more. If it's the other way round, well, maybe how would I do that rowing exercise that we did with the band under the feet with the weights? Well, it could still work. You're holding your weights like that and you're pulling backwards like that. So it's really about finding how, and being really honest with yourself about the things that you know that you are going to do and the things that you know that you're not going to do. So is there anything that anybody wants to sort of put out there that, oh God, I really hate doing those ones, or I really like doing those, or I know that this won't be a regular thing I do, or it will? Anyone want to share anything? Go on, Emma.
I was just going to say, I get really sore on my hips, so I find lying on my hips really difficult. Yeah. I think I get a bit fasciitis still.
Yes.
There is, so yeah, cushions and things. But and I also had trouble during my training. We were doing a lot of on the front lying, gives me headaches.
Yeah.
Tanya said I need to strengthen my neck, so it might be contributing to this as well.
Yeah.
But obviously we were doing a lot of repetitiveness, so
yes.
So not as full of.
It's the thing with the training. I mean, I would say just do really I do really short sections on my side. I never do a long session on my side. And you have as much cushions and props and anything that makes it more comfortable, go for it.
Yeah.
And the same with your front. I know a lot of people really don't like doing stuff on the front, but the gravity of being on your front is really good for getting that back extension. We can take it to a wall. I often do that in class, instead of being on our front in the light class, I'll say you can stand near a wall and bring your chest away and things like that, but you won't get the gravity. So just taking it into short bits, and it might be that you do that once a week, that either your front or your side, because you don't really like it. I'd rather you did a little bit of it than you never did it. But you've got to be realistic with yourself that when it's not your favorite. I know that doing things on my side is not my favorite.
Like Paul likes to say, he goes, Joseph Pilates used to say, what you don't like, do more of.
I was always told more side things. But be realistic with yourself as well. Really, are you really going to do it? I've never really managed to sort my shoulders out totally. They're just better than they were. But it's one of those parts. It's not my strong point, that's for sure. You all know your limits. You know the bits that are the really hard bits for you. So how can you work around it while still getting the sort of good stuff? Anybody else want to go into any of that sort of? Go on, Susie.
I think kind of the opposite for me. When we are prone, I think that's the first time I've ever managed to put weight down my hands and wrists without really hurting, because you could just do it ever so slightly without having to go fully up. So I'll be doing that again.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, and that's a really good way to get that through you, because your arms are quite far forwards. You're totally in control of how much you do. You can take the weight out of your arms, you can put it in and sort of mix it up with the weight going into this part of your back and some going through your wrists and your shoulders. So absolutely, it might be you lean more heavily into that. It's great for your spine. So really good. It's funny how we all like different things.
Yeah, completely.
And also what works for your hands as well in that position, because the pressure's not like directly down like that. So it's getting away from putting that angle through your wrists. It's much further forwards. So it's giving you, and that's good for your wrists, you know, which is a difficult area for you to get into.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to say anything? Any other things? Anything that anyone, you know, really, how are you doing with the impact things, the sort of the steps, the heel drops, the little jump? I saw all sorts. When I brought that out, God, I could see Kate like jumping all around the room and stuff like that.
I really don't like the feeling of it. It makes my brain shake.
Yeah, you see, I don't tend to do full jumps, so very much.
The heel drops are the worst. They sort of very uncomfortable at the back of my head, but do it anyway.
So which ones do you have you tried the hop?
No, my ankles are a little bit too
Much for the ankles.
Yeah, they're not reliable enough, let's say.
Yeah. It's finding the right sort of, if I do a jump, I keep it really small and I get less jolt through the back of my head here than in a heel drop.
Yeah.
The heel drops can be a bit,
I know, they're quite shocking.
Yeah. Which is sort of good, but yeah, there are a lot of other parts of your body that are like, no, we don't like this so much. So you got to think realistically going forwards. Do you want that sensation? Maybe you try that when you've been doing some of the other ones with the jumps. You know, body is more used to it and you know what's coming. Anything else anybody wants to add there?
Struggle a bit jumping around with my knee.
Yeah.
I've got such a peculiar body. I've got hypermobile knees, and then I've got tight ankles and equus and pes cavus feet. So there's a lot of tightness in my ankles, but a lot of, and going forward on your feet, you know, when we're doing I forgot what it's called, when we do like the knee bend down.
Oh yes, like that little split squat thing. So do you find would stamping your feet be better and doing the stamps?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So
my knee is so clunky. Certain moves are better than others. So
it may be some people will never want to do the jumps, you know, for things like if your pelvic floor is an issue, particularly some people just do. They're like, no way, there's just no way I'm doing a jump. Whereas other people are straight on a jump. So it's really picking and choosing the ones that work for you and being realistic, you know, because the best exercise is the one that you actually do, you know, and the whole thing is that we do this going forward in the way that works for you. All these ideals about what we do, it's all great and everything, but you have to think, what am I really going to do?
Yeah.
And you know, and being prepared to pull it back when things get a bit rubbish and then build it up again. It's all good. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time. Anything else that anyone wants to ask at this point?
How do the heel drops compare with walking for osteoporosis?
So the heel drops giving you more impact than walking.
Oh, good, because I find walking very difficult and not very comfortable at all. And so if I can do, I mean, you can do sort of a few heel drops at a time throughout the day, can't you?
Yeah, and that doing even all these exercises, you know, I'm saying doing your 20 to 30 minutes twice a week. You can split that 20 to 30 minutes over the day. You can do it in little bursts. Just make sure you're warm when you do it. So, you know, don't do it from cold. Do some of this, getting the arms going. It's one of those where you shake the maracas and do anything to get a bit warmer and a bit huffy and puffy before you start doing your heel drops and maybe one other exercises. But yeah, those heel drops or a stamp, you know, either of those things, those little things we did, I think for the wrists, I think that was week 2, there's little bangs, or you could go like that. You can also do, I haven't demonstrated this because we only did one lying down on our backs, but you can lie down on your backs. If I just show you here. You'd need to be on a hard surface, not your bed, but you can do your stamps here. You can do that with your arm as well. If that works for you, doesn't work for me so well for my hands, that one, but it might for some of you. But that, it's not going to help your hips, but it is going to help your lower leg. So it's all, you know, there's often a compromise somewhere, but it's still better to do some than not. And yes, the heel impacts definitely more than walking. And you're aiming to get to about 50 a day most days.
Right, good.
So going forwards, sort of keeping this going, we're doing a once a month class with this sort of theme. So with the osteoporosis and osteopenia in mind, and just the general bone strengthening, weight resistance. And it'll be about a 45-minute session with a warm up and a cool down. You'll get to keep the video for a month so that you could sort of have something to go back to. And obviously you've already got 3 of these sorts of routines already. The whole sort of aim is that you mix it up. You can't just keep with this, you have to sort of mix it up going forwards, because otherwise your body's like, I'm too used to this. I've perfected it all. I can do side lying and prone and all those other things. So that it will give you variety, and that will be coming on a Tuesday night. I just don't know exactly when, because we're sorting out dates. It might be sometime in March, it might be right at the very end. But whilst Leanne is poorly and things, it's quite difficult to get things completely sorted. We've got to coordinate it with Togetherness on Tuesday nights as well, on Sundays. So I don't know exactly which day it's coming. And obviously, if that's not a good night for you or a good time, you can still sign up and get the recording and do it that way.
Is the idea to be ever so slightly uncomfortable?
Yeah, it is really, yeah.
Because otherwise, because you saying about the, you know, you don't want to be in your comfort zone. You need to be slightly pushing it.
Yeah, because if you're doing the strengthening of your muscles and your bones, you know, particularly for your bones, you've got to do something that is more than your things you do in the day. So like Jack is saying, walking and heel drops. Walking is like the sort of basic, and it's good. Walking is great for you, and it's giving you some impact. It's not giving you, it's very daily routine-ish, and it's really something that pulls you a bit outside that. Things that ultimately meant to pull on your bones a little bit. And you know, when you do that stamp or that heel drop or that jump, you do feel that. You feel that, you know, it is a bit weird, especially when we're not used to it. And it's sort of feeling that weird with all of it. So like when we're doing that row pulling back, you need enough resistance so that, yeah, it feels like it's a bit harder than I would normally do, that I was like pulling up a really tight pair of tights, or, you know, lifting up something I lift at home, a cat or a dog, quite regularly. It's got to be something out of that routine. The hardest thing is doing 20 to 30 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Now,
not too far.
yeah. So I would say, when I'm doing it, if I do that for 20, 30 minutes with weights and I push every single exercise out of my, you know, comfort zone, I won't be good for quite a long time. I don't do that. I can't maintain it.
No.
So I'd rather you just
pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, but also bearing in mind the pacing aspect.
Yeah.
So impossibility, basically.
It is. I mean, this is why we're doing it through Mobilates, and we're not just sending everybody off to a gym.
I'm joking, but
I know.
But I get it, yeah.
If, you know, I've been with conventional instructors, and I'm like, oh, I want to build up my shoulders, and they just give me the same old, and I can never stick to it, and I never really get the benefit. So I'd rather that you did these routines, and in some of the exercises you think, okay, I like this one, I'm really good, say bicep curls, you know, that might be your favorite. Okay, well, really work on increasing weights and that. And then if you're doing something else that you really do not like much, but you know you need to do, maybe this sort of thighs move, that's the hard, go light, go much lighter on that one. That can be the one you build in time.
I've got a question actually. You know, so if you were, let's take your thing, you enjoyed the bicep curls, and then could you do like just less of these horrible ones?
Yeah.
In between, so you're like, I like these, I'm going to do lots, and then you just go, I'll just chuck in 2 of these because I know I should.
Well, I don't.
Or was the repetition?
Yeah, you
the-
don't want too much repetition because you need the resistance. So you're looking for a sort of rule of thumb. You're working repetitions. That's like how many you do in your little block, your set, and you're looking between 8 to 12. That's your sort of golden spot. I did less today on the new ones. If you're learning something completely new, you might just do 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah.
8 to 12 is normally a good. If you're going over 12, there isn't enough resistance in there. It's mobilizing or moving that joint or whatever, but it's not really resistance.
But it's okay to do, say, 2 of the horrible ones.
Yeah.
Fine. Good.
Over time, you
Yeah.
might do 3.
Yeah.
And I'd rather that you did that than you never did those again because you hate them. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
And it maybe you have less strength going out that way. I know I do, and I can never quite resolve it, but I know that I can hold myself in tabletop on the floor in a way that I couldn't maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, cool.
And this is long haul stuff. You know, we all know this through chronic conditions. There's no quick fix. There's no magic. The magic is the hard work over a long time. That's the magic. And that's the hard bit, but you're all here doing it. You know, you've all committed and shown up, and you know, you've got your recordings and stuff, and you know I'm here. You know, you can ask me about this stuff, just send me an email. I'm quite happy to go into sort of, yeah, try this and try that. And you know, it's a bit of suck it and see on these things, you know, and some things just may not work, you know, and we have to get around it, and I might have to ask somebody and, you know, do it that way. Anybody else got anything else they want to ask? All great on the balance today. Keep counting backwards, forwards, and mixing it up. One more thing that I'll say is we're talking about splitting things up over the day. The balance activities are really great for doing that. So you might be doing your impacts, you know, like heel drops or your jumps or your hops or whatever when you're making your cup of tea. Putting a balance thing in as well, something like standing. The classic one is standing on one leg whilst you're brushing your teeth. So if you've got like an electric brusher, for instance, it's in 30-second batches, you know, of time. That's a really easy way to count how it improves. So just use that. That's, you know, if you can do that when you brush your teeth, you're doing balance twice a day for maybe up to 4 minutes if you're going for your full 2-minute cycle on your toothbrush. So just trying to add what we're doing, parts of this approach in on other things that you do in your day, it's much easier than trying to force in extra batches of exercise that are 30 minutes long. Because if you've got your balance done there, you won't have to do as much balance in the other bits. Anything else anyone wants to say? You're burning questions. Everyone's all done. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you.
And like, you know,
Really helpful.
thank you. It's a learning experience for us all. It's been a lot of learning for me on this one. And you know, that first video has got all your sort of do's and don'ts, particularly for your osteoporosis and osteoporosis movements, the sort of things to lean into and the sort of things to like think, no, I'm going to be careful on that. And slowly and carefully, but that's the usual Mobilates approach. But otherwise, you know, I look forward to seeing you in extra sessions that I do, these sort of once a month ones. And, you know, we might do more of these specials coming up, might find another angle on it or just taking it a bit further. But you'll get your recordings and you've got them all to keep the questions coming and enjoy the rest of your day today.
Thank you. It was great.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care of yourself, Kerry.
Thank you, Kate.
I saw your schedule.
Yes, extra care this week.
Definitely. Let everybody else cook for you.
Leanne.
I will. Bye-bye.